So last week we moved out of the realm of failure and being stuck in ruts into the realm of success. Kind of a more positive, upbeat concept, right? Although the two go hand in hand. It's one of the messages that I've had over these last few weeks. Well, today we move into another element or another realm of success, and that is rewards and awards. How do you reward the people on your team? How do you and what do you give them awards for if you're in the type of team setting where you have awards? So most of my audience are coaches. And so we talk mainly here to about sports and about athletes and coaches. But any team setting has its moments and its chances for the leadership to reward the team members in some fashion, in some way. And whether that's physical awards, tangible things that you hand out, or just the reward of praise that I'm going to talk about here in a second. We all need to make sure that we understand the value of reward and what it does to your team and how it can help your team get that much better. And so what we're rewarding is some type of success, right? Well, I'll use sport as the focus because, again, most of you are sport coaches, but my world, more than anywhere else, is teaching and coaching. And so there is a value, there is some type of thing that we're rewarding, that we're showing, hey, you've provided great value to this team in this way. But even in the classroom, I would reward success, right? And that was either with a grade on a paper, and then a grade at the end of each, or a test, and then a grade at the end of each quarter, a grade at the end of each semester. But every day in the classroom, I was rewarding, hey, nice job, nice try on that answer, or yeah, that's it, very good. I love that thought. That's what we do in class. Well, the same happens in our sport with our sports teams. Every single day, your players have opportunities to perform successfully. You have opportunities to reward them for that. And how do you do it? I said it a minute ago. Praise. Your verbal praise is the most important way that you reward them. Why? Because everybody loves to hear something positive sent their way. Okay? They'd love to hear their name with something positive attached to it. And so you want to make sure that you are verbally praising your players often. Now, you don't need to go overboard. I used to do that. I kind of went overboard through the years. I probably in some way still do, but I'd rather go overboard than, is there a word, underboard? I'd rather go overboard than not do it enough. And I've known my share of coaches who they just don't hand out too many compliments. They don't offer too much praise. I think that's a mistake because I'm going to give you what we call one of the greatest motivational principles ever in just a minute that really highlights the importance of praising. Okay. And so you want to make sure that you are verbally praising your players because here it is. This comes from Bruce Brown, Proactive Coaching. It's the first person I ever heard say it. He may have gotten it from somewhere else. I've looked it up on the internet. I don't really see it anywhere. From some famous person. Bruce is famous in our eyes. Those of us who follow, and like me, I'm a speaker with Proactive Coaching. So, but Bruce, the first time I met him, first time I met him was at a coach's clinic. But when I had him out to speak at our school, at our preseason parent athlete meeting, I had him work with our coaches that afternoon first. And as it was either he and I were talking, or it was in the presentation. One of the presentations that I now do, he said one of the greatest motivational principles is you get what you reward, and it perpetuates itself. And as I heard that, I thought, gosh, yeah, that makes total sense. So here's how it works. If you want something from your team, whatever things you want more of, reward them. Why? Because you'll get that thing again and more of it. It'll keep going. It'll perpetuate itself. When you verbally praise a player for doing a certain thing a certain way, or whatever it is, that player is thinking, oh, I like how this feels. I want more of this feeling. I'll keep doing this thing. But here's the beauty of it. Other players are watching that and hearing that going, I want that feeling too. We're all human. We love to hear our name with something positive attached to it, right? And so they will in turn try to do that same thing better so that they hear their name with that positive reward. But here's a real key to it. You have to be specific in your praise. Because as I just said, how do they know that that player is being praised? Because you said that player's name. Hey, great job, Jenny. Okay, great job, Jenny is fine. Then everybody turns to Jenny and looks to see, what did Jenny just do? Jenny might be thinking, what did I just do? So that's where we got to get even more specific and say, hey, great job staying focused on coach, when she was talking, or great job of running hard through the lines, Jenny, whatever it might be. And so now now Jenny knows, oh, if I keep doing that, I might hear my name again, positive. I might get more positive praise. And other players might go, oh, if I start doing that, maybe I'll get that positive praise. And again, we don't process it like completely that way. It's part of us because we're human. And so you will start to get more of that thing. From her, yes, but from the rest of the team as well. But notice the things that I just said great job for. They are things that Jenny has total control over. Her attentiveness and her work habit. And so you want to make sure that you are praising, you are rewarding things that they have control over. You could say, like I'm a basketball coach, okay? Just finished our 7th grade girls basketball season. And the other night, girl shoots a shot, makes it, hey, nice shot. Okay, yes, I'm praising something that physically she did. It led to a basket. Yes, that's praise, and everybody's clapping. But I added for a couple of these, hey, nice shot. Hey, way to use your good form. Something that these girls needed work on throughout the year. And all of a sudden she used the form too. It wasn't perfect, but it was so much better than it had been at the start of the year. And so I wanted her to not only attach the ball going through the basket as the thing we're praising, but the fact that how she did it is why it went through. And so we are praising something there. We are rewarding something there that she has control over, her shot form. So that hopefully as she starts to see the ball go through the basket more and more, using the right form, she starts to go, gee, when I do this, it goes through. She gets that reward. Then she's getting the reward of people clapping and me saying nice. So you see how this works? This concept of you get what you reward and it perpetuates itself. All right, I'm going to take this a step further because this is a real key. What kinds of awards are you handing out at the end of your seasons? Or those of you who aren't sport coaches, okay, how do you give awards in whatever realm you're in? Because I took this concept to that next level. Because the title of this video is No More MVPs. By the way, this one's going to go a little longer, okay? I'm already at over 8 minutes. This one's going to go a little longer because this is such a great concept that we need to talk about. I used to give out an MVP award like most coaches, and I struggled with it through the years because here I was preaching team all season long, all year long. And then at the end of the season, one of our ultimate awards was you're the most valuable player. You're the most valuable individual performer on this team. It just didn't jive. Once again, enter Bruce. When I met Bruce and we talked that day, it might have been a little further into our time of knowing each other, but I think it was that day. He said he stopped giving out MVP. He was the same way and changed it to MVT, most valuable teammate. It's like, oh, that makes total sense because now we're focused on the thing that we as coaches want, them to be the best teammates possible. I took that a step further. I did that for about a year or two, and then I took that a step further, and I started basing all of our awards on our core covenants. What's a core covenant, you might ask? Well, then you haven't watched these videos or read my blog posts, and you certainly haven't been following proactive coaching like you should be on Facebook. They're basically your team standards, your core values of your team. You need to get our first step, Bruce's First Steps to Creating Successful Teams booklet, or you need to get the videos of that presentation, First Steps to Great Team, or the Captains and Coaches DVD, or you need to have us out to speak at your school. And we'll do a whole thing on how do you create core covenants for your program. It's basically how are we creating the culture of your program. Okay. And so what started to happen, what I started to do is I started making my awards based on the things that we felt were the important elements to create our culture. And so each year we'd have usually 4 core covenants. And so I'd give out one award that I've given out since my first years as a head coach, most improved player, because one of our goals is to get better every day. So that one has never changed. But then I gave out the 4 awards, one for each of our covenants. So I use the example all the time. I talked about this in the Great Quotes for Coaches podcast on Monday. One year, about 7-8 years ago, our team had team first. These were our covenants: team first, work habits, toughness, and love. The kids came up with this along with me prior to the season, and when we again, we'll show you how you do this if you have us out. But they came up with those, and some are thinking love, boys basketball, varsity boys basketball team. Yeah, love the game, love what you're doing, love your teammates. That's what they were wanting. A lot of passion, that kind of thing, right? Oh, okay, that makes sense. So at the end of season awards banquet, what were the awards I handed it? We gave out plaques for most improved, and then best teammate, hardest worker, toughest player, best lover. No, just kidding. That always gets a laugh when I do this in presentations. No, most passionate. Okay, so those 4 things we said will make us the best team we can be this year. That's what we need to focus on. Well, we reward that with verbal praise throughout the season, but then, of course, I rewarded it with the awards at the awards banquet. And then our final award was called our Ultimate Ranger. That's what our mascot was. Whatever your mascot is, make your ultimate blank award. That's the player that best exemplifies all of your covenants. So for us, it was all 4, plus probably most improved element. Okay, notice what's happening here. We are focused in these awards on things these kids have total control over. Every kid on your team could be the best teammate, hardest worker, toughest, most passionate. Every kid. Okay? They all can't be the most valuable player in terms of scoring or whatever, is the best thing in your program. Kids who play more have better opportunities to win those awards. But every kid. So every kid works that much harder because they know I might be recognized and rewarded. And if you're rewarding them all season long with with verbal praise, the players are hearing this. Come voting at the end of the season, they see it and they hear it. It's not always obvious, and here's why. Because so many kids keep going for those things, showing those behaviors. It's what I loved when I would be tallying the votes, because I would have the players and coaches vote. How often multiple kids are receiving votes for the same award, as opposed to most valuable player. One kid is usually the one. It's the kid who leads the team in scoring, kind of thing, right? Well, what I loved about this is the kid at the end of the bench had as much chance as the kid at the best, most talented player had to win the award. In fact, I have years, or I've seen it with other teams that started doing this, have had years where the best player didn't receive one of these awards. That's a problem that the coach, I would have to discuss with that kid. How come we don't see you getting these? You got all this talent, but you're not receiving these awards. This is your teammates seeing this. We need to see you as one of the hardest workers. When you become the hardest worker on this team, that's when this team starts seeing. So again, you start to get what you reward. The next season, all of a sudden, that kid is putting in that effort and you're rewarding with verbally. Now, maybe that kid not only is the most talented player, but becomes your hardest worker, your best teammate, your whatever it might be. And so, and then the beauty at the end, when I would tell the players when I'm handing out the awards, we had 4 kids receive votes for this award, or this came down to, it just continues to build team. So this concept of you get what you reward and it perpetuates itself is such an important concept to creating the best team that you can create. I cannot recommend enough to you. the importance of changing your awards. Get away from the individual performance-based awards, results and outcome-based awards. Not that the results and outcomes aren't important, they are, okay? But focus on the things that will get the players the results and the outcomes that you guys are after. And more of them will strive to do that at a higher level. And I think you'll see greater success. Right? Love that concept. Hey, speaking of awards, this is one for you as well. I talked about it last week. This is my book, Senior Salute. This is a time when a lot of coaches are, will purchase this because it's the end of the winter sports season coming up, and this is a great gift for you to give to your seniors. I got a graduation book too, I'll mention in a minute, but to the seniors at the end of your season. Okay, a way to say thanks for all you've done for being in our program, and it's filled with, you've probably seen, I've got various team-themed chapters. So here's trust. Okay, and then I write a couple of things about trust, and then we have quotes, all throughout, generally about 15 to 20 quotes per chapter. All right. Anyway, I have it on a special right now on my site, slamdunksuccess.com. Get on there to check it out. I also have it in conjunction with my Inspiration for the Graduate book, my most popular book, which is one very similar to that you give to your graduating seniors at graduation time. So anyway, highly recommend you check that out. It's another type of reward and award that you can give to your kids. This one to your seniors who are finishing their time in your program. All right. Little plug there, but this is the time to get it. It gets to you in 2 to 3 days by priority mail. So get on my site, slamdunksuccess.com, and order that. Also, check out Bruce Brown's book, First Steps to Creating Successful Teams, or the video of that presentation of that concept, First Steps to Great Teams, or our Captains and Coaches DVD at proactivecoaching.info. Highly recommend you check those out. More importantly, I highly recommend you have one of us out to speak to teams, because you'll really love those presentations. All right. Next week, something different. We're moving into a different realm, but hopefully you've gotten something positive from this. This is, as I said, a longer episode, longer video, but I think it's really important stuff for you to help build your teams into what you really want them to become. All right, we'll talk to you again next week.